Hi, this is Jaan Uhelszki from Rhapsody, and we're speaking to Marilyn Manson today. Hi, Manson. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
Hollywood.
Speaking about this new album, that's basically what I want to talk about, is your life has gone through so much upheaval since your last album. What was the thing that changed the most for you?
That's a very expansive question.
Yes, I definitely have to choose one thing.
Well, I think being able to, surrender, sacrifice, let down my guard. I think that I can look back now and realize that I was seeking a lot of other outlets, not just because they were satisfying, but I was trying to put efforts towards simply painting or making films, pretty much everything except music, because I was running away from being me. I was in a position where I didn't think much of myself. I didn't want to be me, and I have a hard time relating to the person that I was last year, because I feel like I was fortunate enough to have figured my way out of that hell that I created for myself.
Yeah.
And I think if it were a movie, the moment where the dramatic change happened, if I had to pick that out and remember things, as complicated as my life was at the time, it was singing the song Just a Car Crash Away, and I only really sang it twice, and the second time is what is on the record.
Yeah.
And the song made me feel something in a time when I didn't think I could feel anything anymore.
Wow.
So I started to realize that music is what I always turn to when I am sad or I want to let out some aggression or whatever it might be. And it was foolish of me to almost have left music altogether, and I can't possibly imagine myself thinking or being like the way I was before making this record ever again.
Have you gone through similar watersheds in your life? I mean, you have those small moments. One has those small moments where everything turns, like you can never see it coming, but when it's there, it's almost like it has a sense of inevitability. Has this been like the first time you've had your life so totally turned upside down?
Well, in this way, it was in a way that I had never expected and maybe feared the most. People have always asked me what my greatest fear is, and I've always said the inability to create or express myself. And, I've had plenty of crazy periods in my life. I don't think there's ever been too many sane ones at this point. But what's different about how I felt in making this record was more, I suppose in the past I've been, self-destructive, I've been angry, I've been self-loathing, but there was always some feeling behind all of it. And a lot of times I think it was anger or resentment or some sort of drive. And I got to a point where I didn't have any drive. And I think it's probably as simple, if I can look back at, because at the time, I don't think I could have made any of these conclusions or understood any of it. But I know that I can't separate myself from what I do. And when I was put in a position where I felt that the people closest to me wanted me to, or it felt like, it wasn't in so many words, but I was being faced with a lot of strange realizations, particularly in my past relationship, where it was almost a case of, well, I thought that you would grow out of this stage or you would change eventually, and I didn't know what I was supposed to change into, because I knew that I was starting to be somebody that I didn't like to be, but I could only want to be who I was before that. I couldn't be somebody who was suddenly something I don't know how to be and something that I don't want to be. I think you fall prey, and it's as simple as high school, when your relationships are sometimes fall prey to the pressures of the people outside of it and what they want to impose upon either person. And that's pretty much everything I've always thought that I stood against. And I started to be in a place where I was feeling embarrassed for just being me. And I wrote the song Red Carpet Grave, and I think that probably says everything better than I could describe the situation.
Do you feel that after you wrote this record and after you went through your divorce or your separation, that you were returned to yourself, or are you a whole different entity now? I mean, has going through this, like being forged by all this pain, made you different and better?
Well, I came to terms with my humanity.
Yeah.
I think that I've tried so hard to prove how invincible I could be because I was always challenging the world and facing a lot of self-induced conflicts, whether it be with politics or religion. And when you start to feel like you can't communicate to the people closest to you when you spend all your life communicating to essentially strangers, I really didn't know who or what I was supposed to be. And I suppose it's probably, to other people who aren't me, it may even seem a little bit absurd because it's the most normal situation that everybody has to deal with. But I think that I've often imposed my ideals onto the people who are in relationships with me, and I assumed that they felt the same way because they cared.
Yeah, right.
But you know, it's the same with what I create artistically. A lot of people might like the aesthetic, or they might like the type of music, but they don't like the message, or they have a hard time agreeing with every opinion I have about politics or religion. Or it might be they agree with that and they don't like the type of music. But it's hard when the people you're closest to start to genuinely question if that's what you believe or that's who you are all the time, off stage and on stage. And the thing is, I am. And
you feel like yourself at all times. In your best moments, you feel like yourself equally on stage and off stage, like the same being, the same person, right?
Well, I've always been really hell-bent on not separating myself in the sense that it's simply for show. However, you can't be the same person in any two circumstances. But the difference was that I enjoy my onstage, metaphorically, whatever, the extent that you want to take that. I enjoy that part of my life very much, and I was in a position where I wasn't able to create, and I was thinking, well, I don't enjoy this part of my life, and I didn't know how to change it, and it really became very simple. I just had to make music again, and I had to redefine myself. So I'm feeling like the person that wanted to start a band, but I feel not wiser or even cynical, or that I've grown or matured from the experience, but I feel resurrected and new, like when you shed your skin type of feeling, I suppose. And
like
that's the only way I could describe. I think the only way I could describe how it feels when you listen to the record, because the songs are almost in the order that they were written for the most part, so you can sense the change.